Hello, PrashantNair, Rajshri Deshpande, and Abhay Deol. Welcome to Galatta Plus.
Thank you.
I'd like to congratulate you on a great show and some fantastic acting by you guys. It was very, very immersive. I'm actually searching for words here, but it was fantastic.
Immersive is a good word.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I just want to ask you, like outside of the show, is that there was one point where in the world, biopics used to be, anything that used to be made about real life used to be about good things, like biopic of Alexander Graham Bell or like Louis Pasteur or Gandhi or or like how the Allies beat Germany or whatever it is. It was all like at the end of it, you went away saying, "Chalo acha hua," that was a good thing that happened. But off late, whether you take American television by O.J. Simpson or whether you take Indian television, you have the Harshar Mehta story you have Family Man's very real life inspired newspaper ripped headline kind of things. You have the Nirbhaya case and now the Upar tragedy, the in the cinema halls. The shift that happened, how the audiences also want to watch it, creators also want to make it. And this is a question to all three. If you have a thought on it, how did this transition kind of happen?
Wow. I mean, it's a good question. I mean, just speaking purely for Trial by Fire, I think at the heart of it, what attracted me personally to the story was that even though it is a story of kind of, the judicial system not working, public safety not laws not being up to par and so on, and a tragedy at its heart. I think what attracted me to the story was the inner core of resilience and showing up every day. So I don't necessarily see it that way, in that it's a pure tragedy, because from that emerged for me like a story of that I think is very relevant today. Basically about two people fighting for what they believe in day after day by simply showing up at that court every day. And that's in a sense also a positive message that you take away from it, is that people are, that's what it takes, of just showing up every day, no matter what, no matter how long. And if everybody did that, maybe things would be different. Things would change. But as to the greater question, I know it's an interesting observation. Maybe it's reflective of the times we're in.
Yeah.
And
do you guys have a theory about it?
Yeah, see, when I got to know about this project, they approached me for it. See, I come from a small town, and when this happened, I was not aware about anything. I was just thinking that how little we know
about
actually what happens. A lot of times there are these kind of news becomes like a newspaper, and it just like, you turn a magazine or the newspaper is gone. Yesterday's nobody remember what happened. And that's what I feel, that it's such an important thing, that we want people to know that what happened. We want people to know that how Neelam, Shekhar and the whole Abu team, every day, it's been 25 years, imagine, every day they used to go to trial court. Stand up there and fight. How they must have gone back home every day thinking that it's not happened today. It's going to happen tomorrow. How they must have, again the next day got up and then said, okay, let's go. It's very important. Otherwise, people like me who comes from different places, we don't know what happened. It's just a news thing. And there are so many things happen in our society. All over the world, there's tons of things happening. There's so many issues we are going through, tragedies we are going through, man-made disaster we are going through, calamities we are going through. How many people actually remember that? We don't. We move on with things. We don't want to solve them. So I feel, as an artist, as a human being, as a family person, I feel it's so important. As a citizen of this place, I feel it's such an important thing that I want to tell people, you stand up. I want to tell people, what Neelam, Shekhar and whole team did. So for me, that's the most important part. And I think,
and all tragedies are equal, and but at some point there is no such thing as this is a bigger tragedy, that is a bigger tragedy. But at some point, like Rajshri, you just said, we become numb. Sometimes we're turning the newspaper and there is something, a kidnapping or whatever it is, and then sometimes you just like, you register the headline and sometimes you think about it and it's like, it's not even like, it just passes by because there's so much of it. but there are some that stick on and become part of the national consciousness or even maybe a local consciousness. Why do you think that happens sometimes?
Why do you think something becomes more aware, like
Like
more?
bigger than the other ones that happened,
I think what you're saying is really true, and that's something that we all felt going into the project, is that we're not sensitive. Everything has become a number, measured by how big it is. And what you're saying was one of the things that we grappled with a lot. Is that was one of the reasons we wanted to tell this story, is that it's not about the numbers. It's that tragedies are equal. To bring it back to like something personal versus like a grand scale, epic recreation of the fire, and to bring it back to something really personal, to remind people that really what is loss, and what I think in our case, it's a cinema. A cinema is a place. We've talked about this many times between us. A cinema is a place that is part of your everyday life. You leave your children there. You would leave your grandmother there while
Yeah.
you did some shopping.
Yeah.
When the lights go down, you can allow yourself to be transported to another world, because the assumption is that you're safe. So there was something about the cinema being part of the fabric of everyday life that we felt, probably also why Upar resonated so much in Delhi at the time, because almost everyone had been to that cinema.
Yeah.
It was part of their daily life. And so I think there's something about that makes Upar very relevant, even today, is just this feeling that it's us and not them,
Right.
where, if there's like, if you're talking about the Titanic, or,
Yeah.
this is very part of your everyday life, and it could happen to you. In fact, I read recently some of the Mumbai Fire Brigade gets almost one call every day about a structural collapse in the city. So, like, this could happen, to you, and I think that's what really resonated with Upar, is that personal element.
I mean, you obviously read the book that was written by the couple that lost their children. Did you guys read the book as well? Okay.
I read the book.
You read the book? Because I was wondering whether it made a difference reading it versus reading the script, which is a slightly different animal and based on a lot, maybe, it's based on rather than the actual book. So, like, how did reading the book help you? How did not reading the book help you?
I read the book after the shoot, actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I was going through the material. I was going through the the script, and of course there were interviews of Neelam and Shekhar, and there's so many things, and we discussed a lot. The book was there, and it was very difficult for me to pick up and read it at that time. Of course, I was too involved in Neelam. It was very difficult for me. Of course, the script itself was very strong, and it's based on that only. And I've gone through all the details, the interviews and everything. And we used to have everyday discussion about the things. And we were going through pandemic at that time. There's so many things was actually happening outside also. It was a third wave where the major issue was about the oxygen thing. And apart from an actor, I'm a social worker also. So I was managing oxygen also at the same time for my farmers, for my villagers. And I was going through both the things together, where Neelam is here and Neelam is outside. So there is so much I had to take, I was like, I have to do something. I have to talk about it. So there is the social work. There was Neelam too with me.
Yeah.
She helped me. That's how it happened, and that's how. But when I read the book, it was more, of course, more there, and I think I'm still carrying things.
It's along
with me.
with you, yeah.
Yeah, it is very difficult.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think someone's 25 years of life we
Yeah.
are showing on screen. It is the most difficult thing to do.
Right.
I whatever I have read, whatever I have seen, whatever I have read, but if it's not here, then I won't be able to do it. I have to kind of find her,
Right.
me somewhere.
no, I hadn't read the script. I read the script. Sorry, the script. I hadn't read the book. The only time I read a book was for a project was Devdas, because I contemporized it, conceived the idea, worked on the treatment, and that was more a structural getting a story out exercise for me. As an actor, I didn't go back to the book. So similarly here, the script was pretty tight. I knew about the incident. I didn't think the book would have taken me in any deeper than what I was already absorbed by the script. It's extremely tragic, this incident. If anything, because I get absorbed pretty easily. So if anything, I had to avoid, I had to stop myself from going too far down that rabbit hole, you could call it. I'm telling Prashant that I can't even rehearse this. Like, it'll all come out in one go.
Right.
I think an understanding of your character through the script. First of all, let me just say, when the script is tight, it's done most of your job already. So here the script was already there. I had to catch up to the script.
Okay. All right.
And of course, you have a director directing you and guiding you. You have your co-actor working with you. You have an entire team. You take in all of this, and then you come from this space of gratitude and understanding, and things fall into place. Unless a director really wanted me to read something, I don't feel the need I have to.
Did you guys know each other before this project? No. I was wondering because, except for that very first scene in the very first episode, the beginning, with the video games and all that, things haven't yet happened. That's the one place where you kind of seem to have some kind of, we're slowly gelling, but then you just hit the ground running and it's intense, and that just never drops. What is it like to get into that level of, you may say, okay, it's all just acting, but are there different types of acting where sometimes, if you know somebody, it's a little easier to kind of get into certain zones with them as a co-actor than if you don't know somebody? Or is it the other way around? Am I making myself a little clear?
Yeah, very good question. Yeah. How is it for you? Like, would you prefer when you worked familiar with people or unfamiliar?
No, nothing like that actually. Nothing. I feel, I think the script was so good. And the team was, when you start working, I think what we need is discipline. What we need is sensitivity and sensible people on set who understand, who is ready to listen to you, who's ready to, discuss things. I think that's what we need. We need professionalism on set more than knowing each other.
Okay, right.
It's funny you ask that because, I've always said this, I would find it really difficult to inhabit a character in front of my family, for example. It's hard to work with family because they know me for who I am. And I suppose I'm reserved when it comes to someone who's known me since I was a child to act in front of them. I think that may apply to some of my friends as well. I think being strangers sometimes helps.
Right.
It really varies. The same thing that can be an advantage in one situation can turn out to be a disadvantage in another. So there's no black and white, one kind of truth for all. It all depends. As Rajshri put it, discipline and professionalism definitely go a long way in helping someone. I'm just so now part of this process for so long that I don't feel like I need to get acquainted with an actor before I perform with him or her, but I will make myself available if the actor needs me.
Right.
And I've often found that most times people do want to. Being the senior person, it's your responsibility almost to break the ice. So, because I remember how it was when I first started.
Right.
And so to allow them to just give them more space than you would someone who's already seasoned, because they don't need that space from you. So I think that is a crucial element wherever I go, whenever I'm working with the people. I gauge how much do they want, how much does he or she need, what does he or she need, so that I can provide it. I turn to my director for what I need.
Right.
I don't turn to my co-star. I always pray that my co-star will be as reactive and responsive to me as I am to him or her.
So Prashant, when you got the book and it's based on the book by the parents, but what was the additional stuff that went into it apart from what was in the book itself? What was the extra stuff that went in?
So it's inspired by the book, and we complemented that with about 3 months of, we had a research team in Delhi, and then we looked through all the public material in the courts. There's a fantastic report that was issued right after the incident by Naresh Kumar, the DCA at the time, which was actually a really beautifully written report, which was very comprehensive about what happened where. And from there, the challenge was really kind of, we knew that we weren't making a documentary. We wanted people to really feel what the human cost is of fighting for so long, of trying to make change. We wanted it really to be about, their characters and what that takes out of you when you have to go to the courts, when you have to fight a battle like that. So I think the challenge was, it's 25 years. There's multiple courts. There's a lot of complex legal stuff that we needed to kind of condense and find the most significant moments in. Because we also needed to figure out how to treat time, 25 years, and ongoing.
Yeah.
Basically, the book was a huge inspiration. And then we also drew on the lives of the other people that had been, if you've seen the show, it's sort of a multi-perspective look at the incident. So from there, we also drew on the other lives, and some from our research, some from the book. Obviously, out of respect to some of those people, we've fictionalized and changed their names and so on. But for the most part, everything is inspired by something that actually is fairly close to the truth. Yeah, I just want to kind of go back to what you asked before, because they mentioned the script and the script. I think it's true but it only takes you so far. You mentioned the performances. When you're working with actors as fine as these, and you're asking them to go to places that are unimaginable and no one really wants to go to, like that you don't, there's everything in you is designed to shut that out in a way. And when you're asking them to do that so often and so frequently, it really becomes about kind of the entire set creating an environment for them and then just letting them do their thing. And I think really, that's where both of them, I'm so grateful to have worked with both of them, because they were able to take it, to such moments of honesty and kind of truth that we were all touched, when we saw it, and you know that it's right when you look around and you see people have forgotten that which I think both Abhay and Rajshri managed to do many, many times on set. Often when we had a take that was working, that would be where we start.
Right.
That would be where we and they were very gracious and kind of letting it go there and being unafraid and uninhibited so when we speak about that, I think it's only so much the script, and the rest is it's really what happens in the moment.
Yeah, you spoke about truth, and I've got to end this by just talking about a couple of moments. One is when you go to the hospital and she's waiting to kind of hear from you, and that the thing that you do there, and when you visit the boy's mother and father, and you want to kind of be there with the boy, but they're not letting you meet the boy because they're kind of protecting him. But you're kind of in a kind of a weird, disoriented state, and that was so authentic. I mean, that was like that actually just sucked me in, and I wanted to kind of know where these people are going from here. That pretty much was like my hook point for these two characters, because the tragedy and then the subsequent disorientation of what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? And that kind of very human, nature of what it is, which I think kind of goes back to the question that I asked. I think it's because now we're able to put human faces to, because Harshad Mehta or the Krishnamurtis are people on a newspaper in like black type against white paper, and when they're humanized, I think they actually become like, the thing happens where you say, oh my God, that could have been me, or whatever it is. So, but thank you for a great show, and thank you for deciding to do it, because it's like you just said, it's you're asking them to go to places that nobody ever wants to go to.
I think it's such an important thing. Like even like Netflix is taking up, person like Prashant is picking up, Abhay, amazing cast is coming together.
Yeah.
I think it's the most important thing now, that such projects, such stories should come out. And we need more and more support for this.
Right.
So, once people see this thing, tell it's possible. Tell your stories, tell it honestly, work properly. It's very, very, very important.
Yeah.
I really hope more and more work like this comes out.
Finally, how did you end it all? Like you finished this intense, really, really, really draining thing, and then did you go on a vacation? Did you, what did you do? How did you just get it out of your system?
Well, I went straight into the edit room, and I was living with them for another few months. So I've been looking at them like I don't feel like I just met you guys. I've been with you for months, but hopefully someone else went on a holiday.
I went to New York.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
Me, I need a vacation. I don't know when I'll have a vacation because
just recently.
yeah, but I was shooting there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think so. Such projects it's easy to get out of your
Yeah, sure.
system.
No.
And but I feel because I go back to my villages for my work and all, and I feel that okay, what I'm doing is I'm happy with it because
Nice.
what I'm doing is I'm telling stories. I'm telling the truth. And I'm putting my heart and soul into it because I believe in that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. I think that's my vacation. That if something good happens with whatever I'm doing, I feel
That's good.
happy. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Experience 10 days of Grand Europe trip for easy EMI of Rs 25,000 only with GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
Wonder Diamond, South India's largest lab-grown diamond brand, stores at Chennai, Coimbatore, Bangalore and Hyderabad.